calling there for a stable platform, so that the university operations move according to time. Like as we stand here right now, Peter has been in this room. Peter, maybe you can just wait. But I, as the Dean School of Education, we're having exams in Marseille. And in my school, we have what we call, we have a program that's fully online. It's called the Postgraduate Diploma in Education. And the students we have are about 117 teachers who are students who are undertaking the course. And if you look at the example now, Peter is here in Zanzibar, I am a Kenya here, but there's a lot of work going on because of the set-up infrastructure and the stable platform. Of course, we are central, but we are working with other members of the team. So I think it is beautiful that we can be able to coordinate. I always look into my phone, my WhatsApp. We have some WhatsApp link where the students are always asking questions because it's exam time also. They want to be supported in this and they want to know this. And there's very quick coordination through the WhatsApp and of course the learning connection. So it enables us to communicate real time and very fast. There's the training of staff that has been also taking place, and we'll show you a few photos of the technical team that visited Kenneth in Kenya, because Kenneth hosts our server, hosts servers for most higher education universities that offer this online teaching. Then there's been faculty and also student exchange. Students, to the extent that we also hope to have our students be part of the process of some of the research we need to take, or stakeholder engagement that we've had before. Benchmarking, very important. It's also part of networking as well as ensuring that there's best practices learned. And so we benchmark again with the Open University of Kenya, a very young university in Kenya, just about 3 years old, but it is a fully, they offer only fully, or they don't have any face-to-face, or students are not, they don't have any face-to-face classes. They have about 25,000 students. They run a lot of short courses, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about it, but it was a very interesting activity because this is one of the last activities we had. We thought that together with Bulu in March, then we come to Maseno, and then we moved to Nairobi, and we visited and shared a lot. And we have other ideas that we want to implement together, including Open University of Kenya. I think what I want to also mention is that Open University of Kenya was like an ideal place to visit and benchmark with, because unlike Bulu and Maseno that have the option of having students fully on campus, they have to survive by offering quality teaching and learning to the open. And so it tells us that it is possible for a university to actually this model Then policy development, also a very important aspect. Yesterday, one of our key challenges in the case meeting was about a framework within which to operate and strengthen this establishment of the Center of Excellence. We have been operating in an ad hoc manner. So you have orders coming up, but you don't have any policy, clear guidelines and procedures. And this was not just at the university level, it was also at the national level. But after COVID, we find that Kenya and also Uganda, the commissions for higher education in both countries are taking the teaching online very, very seriously. Before there were questions about how reliable integrity issues, how do you know that it is Maureen taking the exam, and so many questions were being asked about its credibility. But we have policy development, and in Bulu, in I think February, we had an activity, and again we see some photos to support that, where our team came together with the Bulu partners and 3 policies are in the making. They've actually been drafted and they're just being perfected. So there's a policy on online learning, there's a policy on short courses offered online, and there's a third one. I think my team members can remind me. And then there's collaborative research that we want to now focus on. Not really part of this, but we realize there's a lot of information that we're collecting, and we need to then transfer this to collaborative research. Maybe the next. So this is in front of the Maseno University administration law. I think there's many faces that you're seeing in this room. Peter, Agatha, Robert, in there, and you, everybody else is here. Some of the team members are not with us. So this was in October, in Maseno. Next, thank you. Yes, that was a welcome. No, you're going back. Yeah, this is a welcome in the Vice Chancellor's office, taking a glass of African juice. That is the legal officer.
You're sharing a joke.
Yes, you can see the happiness and the joy. Yes, and you know now it's very easy for Maseno team to just walk into Bulu and nobody, we're not strangers, and vice versa, because the leadership, the management, and the university knows there's something going on. Next, kindly. This shows a few of this. Yeah, so this is our Zanzibar campus, and this is near the Zanzibar. Yeah, this is like Maseno is on the equator. But yeah, this is some students, and we're taking the Bulu team around the main campus. Next, the students of Maseno there. This is Maseno team when they went to the audit policy. So you can see Nick. Nick is right there. And is Peter in this photo? No. Yeah, but we also took a long number of postgraduate students. We had our quality assurance gentleman there, and then most of the this is the technical team and marketing team from Bulu. So this is in Bulu, and that's Christine seated there. Okay, so they were there for about 4 days working on that. This was at our hotel when we were after the MOE or MOA rather signing. We had about 2 days and were taken through the plan. How we're going to, what activities we're going to roll out. That was in 2024. So this was just when we were starting off. So this is at our hotel in Kisumu, at the University Hotel. Next. This is in OUK, Open University of Kenya. So we have most of the OUK team on the other side. We have our director e-learning, Dr. Ndegere, myself. And this is Tabu, Odama, Bisma. And online we have some of the other members of the OUK. We had a very engaging 5 hours. And we have details that we can share later on what we're doing with them. But after this period, we should develop a certificate course online to support retooling of all lecturers, because we have the reforms in Kenya and Uganda around competency-based education and training, and most lecturers are not very comfortable, not all are comfortable with the change, and we need to try to do it. And we know this together. This is Kenneth. Kenneth is, as I said earlier, the Kenyan network officially supporting higher education institutions in Kenya. We're hosting this office. The technical team is here. Again, you can see a very strong technical team from Uganda, but we also have some of our technical members. We have Jerry, you all know Peter now, there's Jerry and Barbara, very strong technical team members that So this is OUK. Incidentally, our president President of Kenya was also within this. This is called a city. It's a city that the country is building, and within it is the University of Open University. So was still called up, taking photos and waited for the to leave. Next. This is the team working in Hulu in February on the policy documents. You can see Ron was in Hulu and the team. And so maybe that was just one of just showing that we actually, meeting is very important. When we can't meet physically, we have a lot of online meetings. Every 2 weeks we meet as Marcelo team. Every 1 week we meet between Marcelo and Blue, and any other time that's necessary. So we thought this would be a good forward to leave with you. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to move fast, go together. So,
Thank you. Next is University of Rwanda.
Just press report. Can I just say something very small but very important? Guru University's relationship with University of Barcelona did not start with the training. Guru and Barcelona were together in the first phase of BSU under stability, rights, and democracy. We worked together for a period of 2 years. Then we continued with additional funds from the Leader Under Communication Grant, which brought us to BSU4. And during that period, Guru already noticed Marcelo's leadership in online teaching. And we started working with them. We had a visit from Dr. Ogange. She came and did a background study to find out where we were on ICT. She went back and wrote a report, and they organized a training for us in Marcelo. This training took 2 weeks. I was there, a few other people were there, and that was the beginning. So when we picked up again from the training, we're building on what we had previously done with Marcelo. Thank you.
I will speak without slides.
Yes, good morning. I would like to thank everyone here, especially the leaders center. This is our first time to meet all of you. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is our first time to attend such a gathering. We joined the project on BSU4 in 2024, and we signed the MOU that was in 2024 in November. Our director of the then Center for Public Management was representing our VC. Liberata, Prof. Davis, and myself, we were part of the team. Robert has done almost everything representing what we will be doing in this twinning partnership. So I would like to put simply first into the context why Guru and the University of Rwanda is working on transitional justice. In Rwanda we have what we call Gacaca, and in Guru they have Matuku. Both are transitional justice, which is not the kind of providing justice, the ordinary justice, but a transitional one where we are revisiting the traditions of both countries. So for this, we have set some goals and research. Why do we think that transitional justice justice, the charter, and the tobacco code will help to provide new insight. First, it is because the two procedural justice is about not only providing reconciliatory justice, and it is also providing grounded knowledge. We will be using on-ground solutions to the problem that ordinary justice couldn't provide. For the case of Rwanda, the people who participated in the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda were supposed to be tried in Arusha, the ICTR, National Justice for Rwanda, the Tribunal for Rwanda, which couldn't provide justice on time because of the number and the delays, the procedures, and Rwanda decided to use the charter, not for the certain category of people who planned the genocide, but for the other categories. If you want to get in deep, you can just quickly search about that. So this is what we will be doing with Gulu. It will be a comparative study, and we will also have a second study that will be about migration and refugees, host community. In Rwanda, we have a number of refugees. We have the Congolese speaking in Rwanda, who are the majority. We have the Burundian, and we have also another group that they are not refugees, but they are the one in the emergency transit mechanism that Rwanda has signed with the African Union. So most of them came from Libya. And among the group we have Eritreans, Somalia, people from Ethiopia, Sudan, and South Sudan. The refugees and the asylum seekers and the one who came through that mechanism, they all benefit from what has been established in Rwanda, which is called in Rwanda's language, which means you should also progress. It's a kind of inclusiveness, economic inclusiveness, where refugees and the one in enter the mechanism will also get a small fund to start up a kind of business. All of them, they will receive, or they are getting the same medical insurance, so they are benefiting from the same rights as other Rwandans. Why we have that scheme? It is because sometimes the host community, unlike I don't say not to use the proper words, they will feel somehow the state or other organizations are putting much effort for the refugees, while they are also in the same condition. Most of the time it is being very pure, and then the state is giving a bit of money to start the business of the refugees or the other with the other mechanism. So they introduced that scheme for all of the people where we have the refugee camps to ensure that no one will be feeling like it's forgotten. We have also identified displaced people. those group of people, most of them are Rwandans. They are displaced because of most of the time flooding, the natural disaster. So the state is also taking care of them. So when it comes to the implementation of the program with Gulu, we are working on those two projects. In May, they will be coming to Rwanda. We were there only twice, and maybe to help in terms of reporting and the financial matter. We have what I said, I think 2 days ago, about the single project implementation in Rwanda. So maybe when the whole team will be in Rwanda, they will also have a tour and talk to the group to help the financial reporting. I don't know, Berata, do you want to add something? She's my boss. So if we had not, I cannot say no. She instructed me to resign.
She's a query. And full of interviews. In my own interview to join the center. And everything is presented. The other thing I wanted to add is that from this year, from our last discussion with our current University of Gulu, we decided to divide us in 2 teams. One team, we work on transitional justice, especially in the reduction and the approach mechanism, which are me and Dr. Alice Karitesi, who is not with us at this moment. And we were supposed to work also with Dr. Bikeja Kenny. And we started also to contribute in that cluster with Dr. Stella, who is not with us, but very active in coordination of that program. And the owner of that master's program in preparation of transitional justice, they say easy, I like that. And we work in hand with that team, with Dr. Stella and colleagues. The second team from Rwanda will be led by Dr. Arida with Dr. Ajay and our principal, Dr. Morev Alphonse. They are linked to law, migration, and refugees, and host communities. We work together on the same time, but include working. That is all.
Yes, and the team is made with people from various expertise. Prof. Ajay has expertise in this building. Dr. Alice, she has been working for years on social justice. This is focused on the Gachacha. Dennis is also working on transitional justice. He has worked with the Gachacha, the Ministry of Justice, before he joined the university. Liberata will bring in the perspective of history and how the Gachacha was working in the past and how it has been revisited. And myself, I will bring a bit of human rights, transition also, not transitional justice, the refugee and community host aspect, and peace and security. So thank you.
Very much. Without wasting much time, we want to thank you for giving us the time to present, and Marie, the team. We also want to thank you. You can see BSC promoting social collaboration, and this is the aspect of very good. Thank you.
Everybody, we have planned some group work and we are listing dates. So I suggest that we stay in this room. On every table you can see that there are some papers that we can fill out. But we are sitting a little bit not very constructively for having a group discussion. And so in a little while I'm going to ask some of the group people to spread out so that you also sit with some of the super people and some of the creators so that we have a group mix. And when we change around a little bit so we have more. I'm going to put a slide up on the screen with 4 questions. We have a slide with the 4 questions. The 4 questions, you know, like in any good soup, we have to have the right ingredients. So the first question that we're going to ask you is, what are the necessary ingredients in a good South-South collaboration? We heard already from Kulu and from Maseno and Wanda that education of leadership, a lot of meetings are definitely 2 ingredients that are very important. Having the same vision, but there are more. So please discuss what are the ingredients that is needed for a good South-South collaboration. Another one is, of course, what are the key challenges? Which activities are best at driving these South-South collaboration? And then what are the benefits and how can we sustain those benefits? So if you discuss each question for about 5 to 7 minutes and write down just key things, then in the end, we will just hear 1 point from every group. So 2 groups at the table, kindly mix a little bit so that there is no table without representation from all 3 universities.
And can I just add, we will eat 15 minutes of the next session because we were so delayed this morning. So I think we'll come back from the group work maybe 20 past 11, and then we will finish the session at 11:30. Okay? Is it 10:30?
exchange basically. They are different. Different benchmarking visits.
Exchange is here.
And then
Benchmark, you can even go outside. You can go like America. Benchmark.
Center is active in 47 process.
Sorry. Sit down. Please. It's because we have a very important agenda point after this, which is about the PhD students, and then you also all have bilateral meetings that I know that you're eager to have. So let's wrap this up. Can I just have one ingredient from every group that you think is extremely important? Just one. Taro?
Yes.
Oh, they rejected. I read it. That's another one. Shared goals and expectations.
Shared goals and expectations. What is another one from you?
I think shared vision and common interest. Can I read another one? Okay. Good communication, accountability, and transparency.
Huh. What do you have here? Something that hasn't been mentioned yet.
Mutual benefits.
Does somebody down here have something that hasn't been mentioned already?
So you are the expert. Agatha should talk. She's the expert in South cooperation. But so I'm just repeating what Agatha is saying. She said that yes, you need a common thematic interest, like has been said, but one of the partners should be superior, should have some expertise in that area.
Yeah, so you go to somebody who knows more to ask for help. That's a good point. I'm coming.
Another ingredient is ability to complement each other.
Sorry?
Ability to complement each other.
Complement each other. Ability to complement each other is also very, very good.
Thank you. For us, the biggest ingredient was the goodwill from the VCs. Goodwill. The leadership. Yeah, goodwill.
Goodwill from the leadership. Something that hasn't been mentioned?
Yes. So we can add a leadership commitment and also proper communication.
Proper communication and leadership commitment. Yes. Okay. These are extremely important ingredients, and afterwards, Marie is going to gather all these papers and we bring them back and we try to write up all your good inputs. Now on the second question, key challenges. Who wants to start with that? Start from here.
The key challenge may be meeting deadlines. Yes.
Meeting deadlines is always a big challenge. Anybody here who has something else?
Inadequate expertise to comprehensively handle the challenges the institutions may be facing. Inadequate expertise could be if we are collaborating in the area of IT, we may not be having the adequate capacities to handle that particular gap that we have identified in IT. Thank you.
So does that mean that neither the hosting university nor the twinning university has the expertise?
Sometimes it's like that, where it will require you to get somebody from outside to come and support you, maybe from government or from another organization to come and support you.
Somebody just said here that two blind people cannot lead each other. So then you have to find somebody who has a good vision, huh?
Yeah, we have systemic or cultural differences, which often present themselves in difference in engagement between partners.
We also have changing people central to the collaboration, in the middle of the collaboration.
So that if there's a change in people who are central to the collaboration, it's a challenge. Mm-hmm. Who else has something to add that hasn't been said yet? Tabu? She's saying.
We've just said regarding the commitment and the accountabilities of partners within the collaborations.
It's a challenge.
Yes, if you are not accountable of what we have signed, so the MOUs or memorandum of agreement will just be there. Yes, it cannot work.
So having the right type of commitment can be a challenge. Anybody who has something? One and then over there.
Yes, this emerged from the current collaboration that there was no guidelines for twinning. And our partners from SUSA were not able even to get a twin. So lack of guidelines on twinning.
That's a good point. Maria, are you noting that down? Good.
Yeah, there was one thing that came up, which is both in the South-South collaboration as well as in the North-South collaboration, that each organization have their internal struggles and different opinions within the groups. And sometimes you just have to sit and wait until they sort it out among themselves on the other side of the partnership. I think that goes for all partnerships.
Okay, is there anything that hasn't been mentioned yet? Somebody over here? Very quickly.
One of the key challenges that actually we have here in South collaboration can be a mobility constraint, actually. Mobility constraint. Mobility constraint. And that was actually our case, the team from University of Hargeisa. It took us actually to reach here for two days. So actually that's another very good challenge.
Absolutely, mobility challenges and having to travel 2 days to come to Zanzibar. That's a mobility challenge. Khalid?
Yeah, the point that I want to mention is restrictions from the government and institutional policies. Sometimes there is restrictions from the government for the movement, as my colleague already mentioned, visa or other challenge, and also the difference of the institutional policies. Yeah.
They can be a challenge. Leaders are always a challenge. Okay, so activities that are most relevant to drive the South-South collaboration. One. You want to start?
The activities.
Yeah, just say one of your activities.
One of the activities is meetings, both online and physical, and it should be accompanied with minutes and action point.
Meetings face-to-face, online, accompanied by minutes and action points.
One of the major activities that most really drive South-South collaboration we can call sharing resource. Sharing resource and infrastructure is very important.
Shared resources and infrastructure. What about you, Robert? What did you put or here?
Yes, we also put joint program activities.
Joint program and training. Joint programs and training. I skipped this group over here. Did you have an activity that you think drives?
We noted that the relevant activities should be regular planned engagements. Regular planned engagements, yeah. Planned.
Regular planning and engagement. Okay. Anybody who has something that hasn't been said?
we have here staff exchange, joint supervision, collaborative research, and publications.
Those are very good actions as well. Yes.
Mapping each partner, get to know the partner.
Getting to know the partner, mapping their qualifications perhaps so that you know what you can learn from each other. Mm-hmm. Good point. Okay, last one, key benefits and how do you sustain them? Who wants to start?
Our colleagues here, we mentioned about having shared, sustaining.
No, benefits.
But she mentioned sustaining? Okay. Benefits including shared culture because you learn each other and the institutional capacity building, including networking and learning together. For also efficiency in resource use, most of time you may use less resources compared to get the resource beyond your south-south. For the way to sustain, we think monitoring and evaluation, but also there should be a platform. Maybe we can establish a platform where various universities join and they can have a goal and strategies to maintain opportunities for twinning and collaboration, mainstreaming the collaboration and activity into institutional plans. Like, for example, every university should think South-South collaboration within their strategic plans.
Good point, to think it into strategic plans, please.
Thank you so much. In terms of benefit, we highlighted resource mobilization, laboratory, library, resources, knowledge, and skills sharing. In terms of sustainability, we highlighted the leverage collaboration and the local ownership linked to effective communication.
Local ownership, communication are good ways to sustain things. Who wants to say something from here?
Yes. One of the benefits of the key joint South collaboration is together we build, together we rise. It's like we say that togetherness is a strength and isolation is a weakness. Thank you.
That's a very good summary, yes.
Thank you. The other opportunity we've looked at is through this collaboration, we can be able to mobilize resources by writing grants together and the different institutions in the collaboration allocating financial resources in their budget to support the collaborations.
Good point to have budget to support all the twinnings.
So again, I am just being the spokesperson for Agatha here, repeating her point. I was asking her, how could you sustain the partnership if you don't have external funding? And she said, we can, we already do. We do co-teaching, supervision, and examination online. So that is a possibility to actually do things, even without funding, based on the collaboration.
Very, very important points that if you don't have funding, you can still support by co-teaching, co-supervising. Very good point. Last 3 groups, and then we finish for this.
One of the benefits is something we are calling cross-breeding. I don't know whether we are livestock. I don't know whether we are livestock, but...
Yes, crossbreeding produces a stronger hybrid, you know, because if, let's say, you are an undergraduate at Maseno University, then you do your master's at Maseno University, then probably you still get a PhD and you're just in the same environment, you really aren't as strong. So sometimes, a lot of times, that collaboration, twinning helps. So you have experiences that you bring from somewhere. Thank you. Instead of inbreeding.
My father was a farmer. I can confirm crossbreeding is the best. Your group, Michael?
Thank you so much, my friend. No, it's just that, of course, South-South collaborations also sustainability of networks and research-wise. This is the starting point of doing fundraising. Much more is going into consortia, as you know, so the more common ground you have on research also, and what that could be to start a South-South collaboration needs, that's the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very good next to last point. Can you repeat your point as the last one?
The benefit is together we build, together we rise.
Just because we're going into a very important session with the PhDs now, and then we will eat a little bit of your bilateral sessions because everyone was so late this morning, so we started quite late. I will say there is a list here. For those of you who want to go on the Spice tour tomorrow, you need to sign up. The cost is $35. You'll be leaving at 9 a.m. and coming back at 1 p.m. Okay? So we'll ask you to sign up, up until lunch today on this list. It's here, so please come and sign up. Also, there are, if I am right, there are like two different times of leaving tonight. There's a KLM flight at 8:40. There's a Ethiopian flight at 9:20. And Mashamba is organizing, and as far as I can see, there is like 6, 7 people leaving, but it would be great if you could just come and tell us if you're leaving today so that we're sure that we booked, airport transfer for everyone, okay? So just come and let me know, and that's it for now. We'll have more logistics later. Over to Julie.
Yes, good morning. So maybe you can hear me without the microphone? Yes, please. Is it okay in the back? Because I do think the sound is better without it. Okay. So for the next hour, we're going to talk about PhD support initiatives. And such an important focus, I think, for and then also engaging dialogue with us about, because it could be something we could find funds for, it could be something to do reallocations to the budget, but it's definitely something we can act on. But another crucial point that the PhD students said was it's not only the access, it's also the training, of course. And this is also because what they said was they want to be in control of how to use it and how to do the analysis, how the methodology is used, what kind of questions is asked, of course, and not only rely on assistance from an external statistician, for instance, which is such a good point, I think. Another point that came up was delays in starting fieldwork, and we already discussed the ethical commissions, and I think for most of the PhD students, this is in place, not all. But then when the ethical clearance is there, then there's a further delay in procurement of relevant equipment, and also disbursement of funds, which is to be used to start fieldwork. And of course, this is an unfortunate delay after having waited for an ethical clearance and then having to wait again before starting fieldwork. And from DFC side, we're going to look into how we can do something on the budgeting in order to ease the procurement process. Maybe North can buy some of the equipment, and we have to see how that will be possible to do in most practical with the budgets. But there's also something about the disbursement of funds from the university to see if that process can be quicker. Study stays in Denmark was something that came up, which is also connected to a part about salaries and working time, because a lot of the PhD students, as you know, also have teaching responsibilities. Some of them it's full-time teaching responsibilities, and then the PhD education on the side as well. So of course, time is a key issue, how to find time for concentration, to writing and do analysis and lab work and so forth. And then sometimes other departments' responsibilities is there as well. The PhD students mentioned an extra study day as a possibility to find the time away from all the obligations to really focus on writing. So of course this could be crucial after data collection, the writing publication as we've done. And I know all PhD students have study stage plan, but it could be a possibility to plan for an extra one in 2027, for instance. So this is also something to consider in the PhD plan and talk with us about how to find the funds for that. And also really I know that it can be a challenge at your universities if some of your teaching resources are not there for a longer period of time, but then discuss how can this gap of teaching resources be met, and also ask us, there might be a possibility to fund some of that, there might not, but let's talk about it. Because I think this is really crucial to find a way to find more time for the PhDs to do their writing, and also save them from some of the other departmental responsibilities. Writing retreats could also be a possibility. One project had good experiences with doing writing retreats at TCDC as well, then you don't have to go through all the visa application, and it's yeah, so the last part of the salaries is also the timely payment of salaries. So for some PhDs, not all, salaries are only paid twice a month, and this can be delayed as well. So, and we know that from and translation. I think this is something that we can do. Find ways to, hire someone to help with transition and translation in order to ease working hours as well after field work. And I think that especially for the qualitative PhD students, there's a lot of work in transcribing. Okay, so now we want to go a bit deeper into this part about the library resources and the online access to journals because it's a big issue. And for this, I'm inviting to. Let's see. I don't know if I should say that you volunteered.
I volunteered,
You
yes.
volunteered, let's say that.
Yep, fantastic. Yes. So I just want to encourage the use of Resource for Life because it provides institutions in lower income countries with online access to journals, to books, to book chapters. And it includes a lot of databases that you would typically need access to. So it's Scopus, it's CMAL, it's MPACE, a lot of different databases. And the providers are across the publishing industry. So it's Elsevier, it's Taylor & Francis, it's Springer and Wiley. So all the major publishers are providing this to lower income countries. And I've actually checked that all of the institutions here are actually already members or partner institutions, so you already have access actually through Research for Life. One thing that you can see is that they have different sections, so there are different collections in Research for Life. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Once you use the resources, then you can enter through every of these collections or just overall. It's just so that you have an idea of the way they're trying to organize the resources. You access either through a user ID, so your institution will have a username and a password. It's a shared one, so everyone will use the same username and password. And you can contact, typically it would be the library or some other office that will provide you with the username and password. You can also log on through the institution network, so if there's a campus network and the institution has established that connection, then you can also access it on campus. And I can only encourage the institutions to provide it through the network because then you don't have to provide everyone with a username and password. And the reason for being careful with handing out the username and password is that the terms and conditions when you use Research for Life is rather strict. So you are allowed to use it within your own country. If you use it outside your own country, then the agreement is terminated. And it can take somewhere between 3, 6, or even 12 months to re-establish Research for Life for the entire institution. So it's extremely important that you are very, very careful with
learning.
Like who can get access to Research for Life? Do you have to be like a scientific institution, or could, for instance, TCDC, pay for that?
The overall idea of Research for Life is that it is for free or at a very low cost, and the institutions apply, and once the institution has been approved, and their definition of an eligible institution is quite flexible. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a university, it can also be a hospital or an NGO, so it's not necessarily restricted to universities, but the universities, Gulu, Susa, and Hagesa are all already partners of the institution, so they have.
So it's just I'm asking is just in case you're going on writing retreats to TCDC, then it would be great to have that access and not jeopardize.
It's a fantastic offer, and you can only use it when you are in your own country. So if you go to another member institution and you're using your own access, but it's in a different country, then everything, all deals are off. So it's extremely important to be very, very careful. That's why I typically recommend that you do not share the username and password with students in general, because then it tends to show up on websites somewhere else, and then it's a risk for the entire institution.
Sure.
Before we take a few questions, can I just ask a show of hands? Who's using this? Is anyone using it? Yes?
Thank you, Alan.
Okay. So there are actually some people from both Magesa, Gulu, and Susa using it. That's good. Yeah. Let's take a few questions.
Just to clarify, just to be totally sure, that means the PhD students are in Denmark, they are not allowed.
Exactly, yes. So they should be covered by Danish institutions when in Denmark, and when they return, Research for Life use. But if you use it, that's why typically if I need to see if I need to see what's available now in Research for Life, and I have a password for one of the institutions I work with, if I log on, I wrote it for everyone. So it's extremely important that we are careful, because it's one username and one password. If you're not even able to track down, so who made the mistake, and they can apologize, and then we can move on. So you have to submit a lot of documentation and have to apologize over and over, and it typically will take more than 6 months to reestablish the access to Research for Life, because this is what the publishers make a living on. So if everyone, that's why the websites that I'm not going to put on the slide, that is what they're doing. So they're using other people's username passwords to get access for everyone. And in Denmark, the websites are blocked, so you're not even able to access the websites. But typically in other countries, it's less restricted.
Thank you, Tove. I also just want to have a few comments on, because I know that perhaps in the FFU projects, things are done differently. So, Marlene, you shared a comment yesterday, so please could you share with everyone?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was just talking to Julie yesterday, and I was sharing that it's a full project that I have been part of in Uganda. Both the PhD students and also the other senior researchers, they've been registered as guest researchers at Bloom. And by that, they can access the library even when they are not there. And that is during the duration of the project. Maybe, Luisa, maybe you can share if you do the same in your project. Because at Bloom, we have that policy that they can be registered as guest researchers. So that will be something that they are interested in as well. They don't have.
Maybe I can add on to that. I did the same, so also everyone registered at Book. The problem is technological. I don't know if you haven't had that problem, but where you have to see there is a small authenticator, right? And then you have to receive an SMS in order for the whole thing to work. People in Swansea do not receive the SMS. And in the end, I found some kind of tech-savvy person in IT who could then call it all up, have a meeting where they were setting up that connection, but it was quite difficult. And then sometimes you have to renew, and then the whole issue is there again.
really sustainable because of that holismness. We have had that quite a lot as well, but we have a few tech-savvy people in the project. One is at Diploma, where we didn't have the others. But we have had those kind of recurrent programs with two-factor authentication.
We didn't have that in our group, so it was reaching out IT and then, you know, eventually that person has moved on and then it didn't, so we've never found something that actually works, even if it's registered. Yeah.
So do any of the other Danish universities have other experiences with making this work?
No. I mean, not when they are in university only, they should get access to all of the different roles.
The universities in Denmark are becoming increasingly restricted by the publishers. So it's not necessarily because we don't want to or that we're not interested in helping out, but it's because they fear that access is being shared with more people than the universities actually do. So I think that's why I think we need to be prepared that probably it will be increasingly difficult. I know that at your university, Michael, there was a tendency to share passwords, but now that everything is a single sign-on, you can't really share that password. So I think some of the solutions that we use are being increasingly difficult, basically because they're trying to shut the door. Yeah.
Thank you. Risa, did you have a question?
I have some experience. So I think maybe for students, like for university website, for example, it was possible to, after you register, your equipment is registered at university. You can use using your ID everywhere for the time of the project, and possibly maybe that is also doable for Copenhagen University, I think. So the thing is, at least for students, they need to be able at least to be once to be able to be there in Denmark for once, and then having their laptops registered with the technicians, and they will be given the ID. So if the arrangement I think is possible based on my experience in the past, I'm not sure if still would be the case now.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, some of these processes also change, of course, with time as we go on data security access and all this. Okay. I just want you now to get together in each project and just have a brief discussion on how you can do this. Now we heard a few suggestions. We also heard about research for life. So if you are to follow up on this in order not to leave the PhDs hanging, because we don't have a solution and we need to do something. So what
sure if it doesn't matter, go into the Sham, will you, we have that experience with all our 4 PhD students who are registered elsewhere, did they get access? Yes. So maybe Monday, the 2 of you go to the library. It's a good point of view.
My family's point of view, they needed to advice to special people. You have to introduce them so that they can privilege customers.
Since the young kid says it's everything on that. Okay, so it's particularly
these students need to register the university library, because once they register, they have complete access to the Research for Life. You can make them access any kind of information they want at any time. And we noted that once a student is registered in the university library, while the student is in Gulu and is using the network of Gulu, their access is free, and it's open. But once you are out, then it becomes a bit complicated. So we encourage all our PhDs to register in the library. And the processes are very simple. Yeah. Collaboration with the library staff can guide them so that they register. Yes.
And then I think the key point is really to, to show them. So it's not up to them to do it, but that you show them. Yeah, you tutor them on this. Good to know. Agesa, I can hear you have enough to say. So please say to everyone.
Hello, Thomas. We can share 3 points. First one was to the amount of library for the education we sharing accounts for the PhD students in the cases. The second point was we are now making the local area for the university. Maybe we in 2 months we finalize that one. After that, we need to control for the area of the university. It's another area for the university. And this is one we come to the university. And then we look where we make the data that we need, then we go. But we need to secure the usage for the data for life for using outside of the network. And the third point was training the PhD, how to use the research for life, and another that is for using maybe talking to any other experts for that's all.
Thank you so much. I think it's really important with the training, so that's an important part. And Susa, who's presenting from you? Yes. Very good.
Well, thank you. Agreeable conversation and nonsense, which has been well documented. Most of these such businesses are very Susan. So since there are 4 of us, 2 of them they are Susan staff and 2 are not Susan staff. It has been recommended that Shyame and another professor has to help the 2 students to be registered, to be given a privilege in order to access, and all of us should visit Susan Library right on Monday in order to gain access to such.
Thank you so much. Okay, that's good to hear. Follow-up point already on Monday. That's nice. And of course, this is a challenge for those of the PhD students who are not registered at the university in question. So you need to look into that as well. So I just wanted to go back before we finish. Okay, so I just want us to go back to some of the other points and just to hear, because we didn't get any comments on this, and I know a lot of different issues were raised, and we only had 1 hour, and now we talked a lot about library resources, but what kind of, what comments, reflections, or best practices could you give here about some of the other issues before we finish? Yes, please, ma'am.
Maybe you want to share about we discussed it, right? So if the researchers, when they are in Denmark, if they get registered as guest researchers, they can access the software based on the license from the data. They can download it on their computer, and then they can use it as long as that university is licensed with the software. And as long as they are guest inspectors, registered as guest. So and that's what how we do it. So they can access the software based on the data if they register as guest.
Okay, that sounds really good. So, yeah, we'll follow up on that and
GDPR, but it's just before we let our students use it, we have to remind them of it, yeah.
Across the Danish universities, it's already in place. There's a data science framework, so you can use it with data only in, but then again, it needs to be a Danish researcher, otherwise there's limited resources for using the service. Yes, but it is functioning, and it functions in many different languages, so it's definitely something that would be, that needs to be looked into, I think, if you want to try to find out. And also transcription in different languages, like Swahili, which they can actually deal with more languages than you would expect. Yes. Our experience so far.
Okay. Thank you. I think we'll finish here. We'll send out the slides. So when you do the PhD plan, we'll send out a template also for the PhD plan. You can also do some of these elements. And I think it would be nice for the PhD students to see that reflected as well, to know that there's some kind of plan in place. Okay? So thank you very much. And now you have until lunchtime, right, Marie? For your bilateral sessions, and I think tea and snacks are served. So we'll see you back here for lunch.
Well, for lunch and at 1 we start the program again. No, 2 we, sorry. 2.
I think we can start
with the times delayed. At 2 o'clock the program starts again. And then we have an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours together before we finish.
Yes.
We're going to have the SUSE meeting now. Do you want to go with me now to check if the room is free over there in the meeting room, and we want to grab it because it's so difficult to concentrate.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
Even me, I want to go there because I left my